because when they learn more about you, then they can know what your flaws are. Let's talk about the dark truth of pretty privilege, the dark truth about the evil eye. What is the evil eye? What does it even look like when the evil eye is being sent to you or perpetrating you, or whatever it is that you want to call it? Now, you don't have to be the most pretty, most attractive person on the planet to have experienced pretty privilege. If you are an average looking person, but you maybe put some care and attention into your appearance, or you just radiate a certain type of confidence, you will still be subject to pretty privilege, even if you don't think you're like that pretty or that confident or that amazing. People think that people with pretty privilege or people that are attractive just have an easier life in general. They think that things are handed to you or that things just come really easily. And this is actually a source for evil eye, which is basically people being in your life that are jealous and envious of you. And they're literally trying to be in your life simply so they can infiltrate and learn more about you and potentially ruin your life or hold you back from getting better, right? So think about it like this. When you're watching TV, for example, and you see an actress or an actor, you're like, oh my God, they're so amazing, wow. You can be their fan, right? You can be like, okay, yeah, I'm their fan, they're cool. But what if it wasn't a celebrity? What if it was somebody that was in your life? That would create a lot of insecurities for you. And this is what people who give evil eye and people who are very jealous and envious, this is what they're going through. So let's step into their shoes for a moment. A real life celebrity is now in their day-to-day life. They can see them, they can touch them, they can reach them. They look perfect on the surface because they are attractive. And so they think, okay, well, if they're attractive, then they must have a better life. They must be luckier. So they're going to want to be your friend. They're going to want to learn more about you, because when they learn more about you, then they can know what your flaws are. Then they can know what your weaknesses are. Then they can know more about you so that they can take you off the pedestal. But the crazy part is they put you on the pedestal to begin with because they made a judgment based off of how you look, in assuming that, you know, you're perfect or that you're better than them in some way. And so their immediate need, instead of trying to make themselves better, their immediate need is to know more about you so that way they can take you off the pedestal, right? So anytime somebody is feeling jealous of you or envious of you, there's two different approaches. Now, the healthy approach when you are jealous of somebody is to say, oh wow, I'm really jealous of this thing. How can I get this thing for myself? And how can I enjoy that as well, you know? And chances are, like, you'll probably approach the person. Like, I've had people approach me like, oh, what do you do for your hair? Or what do you eat? Or what's your diet like? Or this and that. And they genuinely want to like learn what I do and try to create those results for themselves, right? Or they'll ask me like, how is your relationship? Like, how did you meet your guy? Like, how do you have this, this, and this? Like, and they genuinely want to know so that they can apply it for themselves. Then you have the other type of person that wants to know more, either so they can discredit your success or so they can find your weaknesses and try to infiltrate and ruin your life. So when they're trying to discredit your success, basically they're looking for any reason to knock you down. So a lot of the times this will manifest as being called promiscuous, like getting insults like, oh, she's just a ... you know the word, like HOE, those kinds of language and accusations. And then you will have people trying to discredit your success and say, oh, she only got that job because she's pretty, or she only was able to do that because she had a man, or because she had this. And so they'll try to make any excuse to discredit everything that you've done, especially if you also have other skills and talents. So if you are pretty and you also are smart, or you also are successful, or you also have a good relationship or a good family relationship, be ready. Okay, be ready, because that is when people will really be trying it, because at that point they're gonna say, oh heck no, this woman was already blessed by God by looking this beautiful, and now on top of that she's smarter than me, and on top of that she has a better relationship than me, and on top of that she makes more money than me, and on top of that she just seems happier than I do, and I'm always annoyed and she always has a positive mindset. Like, what? No, there has to be something wrong with her. So what they do is they will pretend to be your friend and learn everything they can about you and compliment you and tell you this and tell you that. And then oftentimes what I really notice is that people will initiate negative conversations with you in order to try to hear something negative from you. So especially if you have like a positive mindset and this person has the evil eye against you, they're envious of you, and they're trying to learn more about you, they'll oftentimes like strategically say things like, oh, I've just been so stressed because this, you know what I mean? And they give you that look because they want you to also say, oh yeah, I've been stressed too because this, and this. So then you're giving them information that they can use against you, or so that they can think about and say, oh, well, she's not all that because look at this. She told me she was anxious about this, and she told me that this happened, so obviously she's not as cool as I thought she was. Yeah, good. It's that kind of energy, right? It's like they are too insecure to try to just be vulnerable and try to expand and grow themselves. So instead, it's easier for them to try to knock you down and try to take you off the pedestal, which they put you on. Like, you didn't even ask to be there. That's the crazy part. Another thing with pretty privilege that they don't talk about is female friendships. So a lot of women that are insecure and they exhibit like pick me behavior, you know, those types of girls that are very male centered and like they will stab you in the back so fast, right? Well, those types of women have friends that don't threaten them. So their real friends are the friends that they don't consider a threat. And then you, who are the pretty friend, you can call it, they're your friend and they're gonna pretend to be your friend, but you're always gonna get excluded from real things. So for example, if there's an event that there's gonna be boys at, there's gonna be guys there, or it's like some kind of celebratory event, like they won't invite you. They'll forget to invite you, or they'll make it so it's at a inconvenient time that they know that you won't be able to go because they don't want you to steal their spotlight. Chances are you are having this happen to you if the only times you socialize is like one-on-one. Like you don't get invited to like group gatherings. That is a telltale sign because they want to be one-on-one with you so they can steal your energy and learn more about you so they can gossip about you. But they don't want to invite you in the group because they don't want you to steal the spotlight. They don't want you to, you know, grow your light in that way, and they don't want to actually incorporate you into their life as a real friend. They just want to keep you as sort of this shiny object that whenever they need an ego boost, they remind themselves of whatever it is that you may be going through. Like they'll reach out to you when they're feeling low and ask you about what's going on in your life just so they can get the tea, just so they can get like anything that may be going wrong, so that way they can feel better about themselves. Back in the day when I would have friends that would have crushes, their crushes would come to me first and then I would reject them to be loyal to my friend. And then they would say, okay, and then they would go and date my friend, and then my friend would no longer want to be my friend, or they wouldn't want to hang out with me as much because they didn't want me to then be in their field and then their man want to be with me again and then like leave them or something. I don't know what the logic is behind that, because you were the second choice, and the fact that you accepted being the second choice just shows how insecure you really are and you need help. So please never accept like being the second choice. Like, there's so many guys out there. If you're really gonna compete with your friend for a man, like, just remember it only looks bad on you, and it only makes you seem more desperate. And at the end of the day, he'll leave you, and then you're alone and you have no friends. So you have to be sure to have those boundaries with your friends and look out for the signs of people being very envious of you. Another thing too is that overly masculine women will blame you. Holy crap, that is the biggest iguana I've ever seen. I'm gonna take a picture of it so you guys can literally see it. I'll put it up on the screen. That's a big boy right there. That is a big boy. I didn't get the greatest picture, it's a little blurry, but they've been eating my plants lately, you guys. I'm so angry. He better not eat any of my plants. Okay, where was I? Masculine women will literally hate you for being pretty and having a blessed life, especially if you have a healthy relationship or if you're doing well in your career. And think about it like this: if a woman is not activated in her feminine power and she's feeling like she has to work really hard and she doesn't have love in her life, she doesn't have fulfillment, she's just like always hustling, trying to make money, no time for self-care, nothing, meets a woman who's like, seems like she's floating through life, she's pretty, she has a provider, she has a job that is effortless, she has plenty of time for self-care and all these things. Like, instead of wanting to then be like her, they're going to want to tear her down and discredit her. They're gonna say, oh, it's because she's pretty, that's the only reason she's ever gotten anything. Like, oh, she's superficial, she's toxic, she's fake, she's crazy, oh, she's a liar, she's very manipulative, oh, she's so passive aggressive. Like, they'll start making stuff up about you, whatever it may be, in order to make themselves feel better, because they don't want to change themselves. That's the key thing that you have to understand about people that give you the evil eye and people that are envious, is that they have an aversion to changing themselves. They will not change themselves. They will literally make up a lie before they change themselves. They will literally brainwash themselves into thinking everything is everybody else's fault, or into thinking that you are a liar or you're this or you're that, and they'll truly believe it because that is easier to them than putting in the effort to change and to be better. So one thing I hear a lot is like, oh, pretty privilege, like you could get any job, like you just get hired easily. Yes and no. If it is a man that is hiring you, then yeah, you'll probably get the job, but guess what? You'll also have to deal with a little bit of inappropriate workplace behavior from the man. And if it's a woman, chances are, even if you are qualified for the job, if she's not secure within herself, she won't hire you because she's jealous of you. She doesn't want you there stealing her spotlight, right? Or she will hire you and then she'll make your life living hell to try to have control over you, so that way she can feel superior to you. So again, like, yes, being pretty has its privileges, but it also has its takeaways. And I'm not saying that, oh, I wish I was ugly. No, but understand that there's more that goes into it. And if you are not even like pretty, if you're just average and you're a woman, watch out for the evil eye. Watch out for this, because when you don't know, if you're not aware of it, it could really like ruin your life. I'm gonna give you, oh my God, I didn't really want to talk about this because it's very personal. But I feel like it'll help you. Oh my God, there's a dove. Okay, so much wildlife going on right now, so I'm sorry if I get a little bit distracted, but yeah, I think I want to explain this to you in a way so that way you'll understand. But the evil eye can manifest itself in very subtle ways that you won't even realize. So an example from my life, years ago, oh my gosh, this is so TMI, please, like, you know what, I mean, I've already gotten very personal on YouTube, so I feel like it'll be okay, but we'll see what happens. So basically, I was younger. I'm not gonna say my exact age, but I was younger, in my teenage years. And this is around the time where I had my first serious boyfriend. And this is the one that I, you know, got intimate with for the first time ever, if you know what I mean. And oh God, so cringe. But I had a best friend at the time. Like, she was my BFF. Like, when I tell you we were talking every day, texting every day, hanging out every day, like we were skipping class together, like we were doing all the girl things together. And I thought she was like my ride or die. And I would realize that she would have this other group of friends and she would never invite me to like their gatherings. Like, I always found it kind of weird, but I didn't understand why. I'm like, well, why is it that like she's introduced me to them and like I've met them one-on-one, but like they're having a party and she didn't invite me? I thought I was her best friend, right? She tells me she loves me, she's my BFF, I'm her BFF, right? Like, you would think that you would invite your best friend to your party, right? But no, she wouldn't invite me to those gatherings. And I always thought, oh, it's because like they're different and she just doesn't like think that I would get along with them, maybe, I don't know, like who knows. So that's one sign right there that she was not really my true friend. She was just trying to take my energy and get to know me better. But the reason I told you about my boyfriend is because she would literally like be the third wheel. And at the time, again, I thought this was very innocent. I'm like, oh, she just is my best friend, and I'm glad that my best friend and my boyfriend can be friends too, right? So we would literally all hang out all the time, and there were so many signs, but I didn't realize that she was so jealous of me. But looking back, like, she would literally, anytime I would have good news, like, she would always find a way to spin it poorly. Like, she would literally create problems between me and my boyfriend. Like, she would say, oh, like, he said that, like, why would he say that? Like, she would be extra problematic and try to like get me all riled up, so I would argue with my man, or so I would just feel bad about our relationship. She would always like give me like half compliment, half insult, like giving me a compliment and then saying like a backhanded compliment. You know what I'm talking about. But anyways, there was this one point where I was like in the hospital. I think it was like a few days. I was literally in the hospital. I didn't have my phone. I was just completely disconnected. I come back. She and my boyfriend got intimate. She also lost her V card to him with my boyfriend. So, okay, I know it's a lot, but I got cheated on. My best friend slept with my boyfriend. And on top of that, if that wasn't enough, they actually spread a rumor that I tried to off myself, and that's why I was in the hospital. So that was a lie. They both knew it was a lie, and yet they spread that rumor. It's like, you know, things that you just don't pick up on, like, and then you realize, you look back, you're like, yeah, they were trying to orchestrate my downfall. Now, she was trying to orchestrate my downfall because she was jealous of me and she wanted to take my life, basically. Like, she was literally like dressing like me, copying my hairstyles, like copying everything. And at first I thought it was innocent, but then you realize like, oh no, she was literally trying to swap her life with mine, literally, and it was scary. So that is an example of how someone with envy giving you the evil eye is going to literally topple you. Because, by the way, like, after I found out, like, she was the one who told me that this had happened, right? Because I remember I was having an argument with him about something, and then he said something poorly about her, and I was like, how are you going to talk about her? She's my best friend, like, how dare you, whatever. And then I went to her and I was like, he said this about you, like, why would he say that? That's so rude. And then she was like, I have to tell you something. And then she told me what had happened, but I was on the phone with her. And you know when someone's talking to you, like you can tell if they're smiling, like if I'm saying something like this versus if I'm saying something like this, you can kind of tell that I'm smiling, right? I could hear her on the phone. I could tell she was smiling that when she told me that. And in the moment, again, I thought it was kind of weird, but I didn't think anything of it because I didn't know about envy really. I didn't understand the evil eye. I didn't understand all of this. So that was not a good moment, but it taught me a lot. And you know, he also was guilty in the situation. Don't get me wrong, like he cheated on me, and she was not the only person he cheated on me with. I actually found out later that he had done other things as well that I didn't know about. And it's actually funny because it just goes to show you, like, even though you don't understand the evil eye, other people do. He understood the evil eye because he was literally dating me to stir up envy in other women so he could sleep with them. Literally, like, because the women that he would get with would be like my enemies, like not really my enemies, but just people that were in my field. It wasn't like random strangers, right? Like it was people in my field who knew me. And it was like this little secret that everyone was keeping. And they were all doing it because they were all jealous of me, right? Because if you're not jealous of somebody and you think somebody's harming them, you're gonna be like, no, we have to protect them, blah, blah, blah. But if you see someone getting harmed, but you're jealous of the person, you're gonna be like, I know something you don't know. It's a different energy, right? That's what you have to keep in mind. People they're not evil, okay? But they are very insecure. And their insecurities will ruin your life if you don't understand this. And if you don't own your pretty privilege and own the fact that, yeah, you are pretty, and yeah, you're gonna stir up envy. You're gonna stir up the evil eye. If you don't get the evil eye, you're not doing anything in life. If no one is jealous of you, if no one is envious of you, are you living under a rock? Like, what are you doing that no one has ever felt jealousy for you? But you can actually use this jealousy in your favor. And this video is already getting a little bit long, but I want to make a whole video on how to transmute the evil eye, because it's actually really fun when you know what you're doing, and you can actually take any energy that anyone is sending you and use it for the better. And I have some techniques for this. So again, I want to make a whole video on it because I feel like this one is already getting too long. But at the end of the day, what you have to understand fundamentally about the evil eye is that it can only affect you if you allow it to. So in my example, there were many red flags. There were so many signs that she was not really my friend, and there were so many signs that he was not really a good boyfriend, right? But I ignored them because I was in my own world. I didn't like think about it too much, right? So once you are aware that, okay, people have the potential to be jealous of me, and if they are jealous of me, they're not going to just show it to my face. All right, there's a small percentage of people that will be jealous of you and then will just straight up hate on you, like trolls, right? Like people that are haters, they're actually jealous, but they're disguising themselves as haters because that's how they make themselves feel better, right? But what most people will do who don't like you or are jealous of you is actually just go undercover and pretend to be your friend, or pretend to be a little bit like neutral, so that way they can still have access to you and knock you down as much as they possibly can, right? So if you understand this, you can create healthy boundaries. I actually think I made a video on this. It was something like, be savage with your boundaries. If you saw the video, if you have the link, please just link it in the description so that everybody else can just go to it. But yeah, that is a great video to help you understand how to cultivate healthy boundaries with people, so that way you can almost like eliminate the negative effects of people with the evil eye. So you don't have to cut them out of your life. You can use and feed off their jealous energy and make your life better, right? Which again, I'll talk about in another video later. So if you want to watch that, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notifications. But it only works if you allow it to work. It can only hurt you if you allow it to hurt you. So the one thing with the evil eye is that the more you are worried about it, the more you are concerned and scared about it, the more it's actually going to have an impact on you. So if you take the power back, let go of the fear, and just ask yourself how you can be more strategic about it. Literally just read the signs, literally just observe the people around you, trust your intuition. Don't listen to what they're saying, feel what they're feeling. Okay, your energy will never lie to you. I hope this video helped, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Love you. Mwah.